Hello, my name is Corinne Hines, and I am going to tell you what my classroom is based on. But first, I would like to give you background knowledge on the program I work for and the program in which your child is enrolled in. Our program is called the Intermediate Unit 13 Early Intervention Program. Each county in the state of Pennsylvania has an intermediate unit. We serve students who are ages 3 to 5 and demonstrate a developmental delay in communication skills, motor skills, social or emotional skills, adaptive self-care skills, cognitive ability, and or children who have been diagnosed with autism, hearing and vision impairment, or an other educational disability. What is our purpose? It is to teach students how to be successful early on in life so special education services will decrease or not be needed at all in the future. There are so many autism treatments that people talk about, which include PECS, the Miller method, facilitated communication, and so on. But there is one treatment that we use in my type of classroom, and that is ABA, which is known as Applied Behavior Analysis. ABA is the science in which tactics derived from the principles of behavior are applied systematically, keyword being systematically, to improve socially significant behavior, an experimentation to identify the variables responsible for the behavior change. It focuses on objectively defined observed behaviors and applies the basic behavioral principles to learning and teaching. There are a lot of big words there, so here we go to explain. Why do we use it? There are so many reasons. It is meaningful. This is where we get the applied part from, because it has a commitment to change behavior to being more socially appropriate. It's effective. I have worked in my classroom for 3 years and can honestly say it works. The effect can be scientifically proven, which is where we get the analysis part from. ABA is focused. If there are instructional problems, we find them and we repair them. This can be focused on problems to do with the student themselves, the entire classroom or a part of the classroom, or possibly the program level they are on. For example, I have witnessed students working on a skill that is too difficult, which leads to problem behavior, which affects the instruction. As an ABA teacher, I find the instructional problem and I repair it. ABA is broadly relevant. It can be used on any age, in any setting, or with any type of instruction. It's self-correcting. We take so much data on our students and we provide direct and frequent measurement. ABA is accountable. Variables are generally controlled by the teacher and can be altered on what the teacher feels is best for that student to learn. ABA is public. You can see it. It's very straightforward. It is definitely doable. Not only do I implement ABA into my classroom, but I have 4 paras, a speech therapist, occupational therapist, a physical therapist, and a TSS who all implement it in my classroom daily. I hope parents will implement it at home as well. ABA is replicable. It can be used by others, and it's empowering because it really works. ABA is optimistic. At first, students make very small improvements, but they are improvements. You start to feel more positive, and when you are positive, the students are positive. ABA focuses on motivation. Basically, you can't do anything without the motivation of the student. There are many instructional techniques, and many of these I have in your child's IEP. Number 1 is reinforcement. Basically, you reinforce when your child does something correctly and ignore when they do something inappropriate. For example, many of our students will often take a toy from a peer. Instead of us saying, "Johnny, we don't take toys from other kids, you need to share," we would ignore the behavior and reinforce when Johnny does something correctly. By you giving Johnny attention, he is being reinforced if attention was what he was seeking. He will now continue to take toys because he knows he gets your attention and you talk to him when he does it. Number 2 is errorless teaching. This is how we teach all skills in my class. The steps to errorless teaching include prompt, transfer, distract, check. For example, let's say I am teaching one of my students how to clap their hands. First thing I would do is say, "Clap your hands," while modeling it. The students would imitate clapping their hands. That's the prompt. Then I would say, clap your hands without the model. This is the transfer. We are now transferring the skill to the student to do it independently. Then I would distract the student with a simple task, such as putting an item into a cup. And last, I would complete a check trial by saying, clap your hands. Then I would reinforce big time, hugs, tickles, M&Ms, whatever the child found motivating that day. Number 3, error correction. It's something we use when a child errors on a skill that is considered mastered. For example, if a child has touch your nose mastered, and when I ask him to do it, he touches his ear, we would perform error correction. The steps are similar to errorless teaching, except they start with the end, then prompt transfer, distract, and check. When the child touched his ear instead of his nose, I would take his hands and put them in a neutral position on the table. This is the end. Then I would perform prompt transfer, distract, and check, and reinforce big time. We provide a lot of prompting to teach skills, but we don't want our students to become prompt dependent. Therefore, we need to fade prompts. For example, if a student is learning to sign for candy, which is point your finger to your cheek, and you prompt it by using hand over hand every time, they will soon become lazy and expect you to always sign it for them. Therefore, we need to fade the prompting. Instead of always putting their finger to their cheek, you may take their arm and move it towards their face, or tap their elbow to get their hand up by their face. Let's say they put their whole hand on their cheek, except their finger. We would still reinforce this because it's an approximation of the sign. This leads to shaping. We will eventually shape the sign into being just the pointer finger. I hope all of this makes sense, and if you have any questions, please contact me at any time. Thank you.